In long-range shooting, mountain hunting conditions are the toughest in the world. You've got some terrain effects, you've got lighting change, you've got some extreme heating and cooling that are going to cause the most difficult wind conditions that you'll experience anywhere. In addition to wind, you're also going to see some dramatic changes in elevation, which causes pressure change and air density changes, along with your temperature change of the air. You need to have some tools and some techniques that will allow you to compensate for those changes so you can make that shot when it presents itself. Now, the first of these is incline. Let's take a quick look at incline. Up in the mountains, you shoot uphill or downhill. We're pretty comfortable with the fact we need to make a change, but you might not realize that that change is the same whether you're shooting uphill or downhill. We need to aim low for either case. Essentially what we're doing is shooting for a shorter equivalent horizontal distance than that actual line of sight distance. And again, the effect is the same for up or downhill shooting. Let's take a look at an example. 700 yards with our typical long-range cartridge. We're talking 20-degree incline is going to give us a point of impact difference from horizontal that's about a minute of angle. That's 7 inches. So that's enough that we need to be aware of it, and we need to make a compensation. Now, if we take that same distance, that 700 yards, we put it on a 40-degree incline, now that point of impact change is more like 20 inches, which is huge. 20 inches of miss on even the biggest elk. So we do need to have the tools and equipment and the understanding to correct for an incline shot. But I think maybe more important than correcting for incline shots is correcting for air densities. Now, what I mean by air density is the pressure and the temperature of the air. So I speak in air pressure in terms of feet of elevation. Now, the thing about elevation and temperature is you're going to see changes from your shooting back home when you come out and hunt in the mountains. You're going to see a change. It's guaranteed it's going to be there. And on the hunt itself, you could potentially start at one elevation and end up hunting 2,000 or 3,000 feet different in the same day. Same thing with the air temperature. You're going to see a temperature in the morning that's way different than what you see after lunch. So we need to be able to compensate for those changes. Now, let's take a look at a case. You're set up back home, you're 2,000 feet, 50 degrees. Now we've got a ballistic coefficient of 600, 0.60, and a muzzle velocity of 3,000. That's an approximate long-range hunting cartridge. Take that situation, put it in that 2,000 feet and 50 degrees condition, calculate it using an online ballistics program like G7, and you're going to see that your drop at 1,000 yards is 22.9 minutes of angle. Now that's about 240 inches if you care to get a feeling as far as how many inches that goes. 240 inches of correction. To compare that to mountain hunting, let's say Colorado elk hunt, early season rifle, we're going to start the hunt at 8,000 feet. And we're going to run about 70 degrees. So take that same BC, that 600, with the 3,000 feet per second, and calculate the scenario for 8,000 feet of elevation and 70 degrees. Now we're only talking about 20.3 minutes of angle. That's a big difference. We're talking 212 inches, that's 30 inches of point of impact change for, just 6,000 feet of elevation change. You also need to be aware of how the wind is affected, and your wind calculation can change based on those conditions. Just for that simple case of 2,000 feet elevation versus 8,000 feet, we're looking at 1,000 yards with a 10-mile-an-hour wind. We're talking 5.7 minutes of angle or 4.1 minutes of angle. That's essentially about 16, 17 inches of point of impact change just from that small change in air density. So if you've got a ballistics chart on your stock, or you've got a wind number marked on your turret, you have to realize that that number is not going to be correct when your conditions change. What we need to do is calculate the actual amount in the field, or have multiple charts or multiple turrets, and that's just more gear that you have to carry up on the mountain. You can take all this gear and all this equipment and combine it and get a little simpler method by using the G7 BR2. Basically, with this device, what we've done is we've combined the angle cosine indicator that measures our angle We've combined the ballistic computer that takes your ballistic inputs for your bullet and your muzzle velocity and calculates a solution. We've combined the weather station that measures your pressure and your temperature. We've put all those devices into this rangefinder so that you, in the use of the device, just press one button and it calculates that range and calculates your ballistic solution and tells you what to compensate so that you can make a really fast compensation in a hunting situation.
We did a little calling. We have 2 coyotes out here working their way towards us. They're right at the edge of those cattails. It's 1,085 yards, 24.5 minutes of angle. We've got a full revolution, 24.5. For a 10-mile-an-hour wind, we have 6 MOA. For a 5, we have 3. So for a 2.5, we have, I'm going to give it 1 minute per wind. We just have a slight breeze blowing from left to right.
Got him.
What?
Got him.
Nice.
Dropped him. Nice one.
Drop that sucker. Wow. How far did I say it was? 1,085 yards. One shot on a coyote sitting down facing towards us. That's by far my most amazing shot I've ever done. They're on the dike.
There's 2 of them.
50, 23.2. Are you on him?
Yes.
I think I got it.
I think you got it. Only one of them ran out from the other side.
Got that one too. Well, we walked out here to the other side of the dike to see if I hit that coyote at 1,050, and here he is, nice looking male. So it doesn't get much better than that. 1,085 and 1,050, right within 5 minutes of each other. Extremely happy about that. This is an awesome Gunwerks system with the rangefinder and the scope and the gun. And I don't know any other system that you could do that with coyotes at that range. It's pretty awesome. I'm pretty stoked about it. This is the 2 farthest shots I've ever had on video or in life, period.
It's all over the place. We're out here on the edge. First shot, 25-mile-an-hour wind. Tell you what, that's a tough shot. Hey, we've been driving around most of the day trying to find a shot presentation just like this. We found this canyon. We've got some sheer drop-offs on each side of it. It's not very wide. It's only about 350 yards wide, but to the opposite bottom, we've got about a 42-degree angle. So we've got a really steep incline here. We're right out on the edge. The wind's howling. I'm peeking over, and frankly, I'm getting butterflies just thinking about going down to the bottom of that thing. What we want to do is show you how well this rangefinder works in this type of situation. A lot of other rangefinders that claim they can compensate for angle, all you're doing is trying to match up your ballistics with some preset programs in there. What our BR2 rangefinder allows you to do is enter your own ballistics, your muzzle velocity, your ballistic coefficient, and if you're running a ballistic turret, your temperature and altitude of that turret. What it's going to do is give you a calculated firing solution in real time for that incline. So if I range this rock right here, it is 356 yards down to this rock. Now it's going to give me that line of sight range, which is 356. About a second later, it gives me my shoot to range, or what I should actually dial my turret to for that shot. In this case, it's telling me I need to dial for 240 yards. So 356 minus 240, I mean, we're over 100 yards difference in our shoot to range, which is gonna make a big deal, a big difference on this type of shot. Now, if that was a 180-inch desert ram down there, or a 200-inch mule deer, the last thing we want to do is shoot over the top of it. So use the BR2, plug in your ballistics, range it, dial to what distance it tells you to, take the shot. And that's what we're going to do. We get down on this rifle. Man, this is spooky up there. I don't like it. I'm going to get over this edge and get ready for a shot. I don't have a lot for rear support. You know, it's only 350 yards. I'll get as stable as I can and we'll take this shot. Perfect, perfect. Rangefinder told me to dial 100 yards less than what the actual line of sight range was. That's just about a 3-4 inch rock there at 350 yards. That BR2 rangefinder is so cool because it's going to tell you exactly what to dial to. There's no more missing. There's no more shooting over the top of stuff. No more shooting below it. I think what I want to do is just dial up to that line of sight range. Let's take one more shot and see how far off we'd be if we didn't have that angle compensating technology. Looked like my point of impact was about 2 minutes high. That's what it says on my dial anyway too. So 2 minutes high at 350 yards. I mean, we're 6-7 inches high. I mean, if you were shooting a ram or a mule deer, you could have easily missed over the top of it. That's a tough shot.